All right, hello everyone. Today, since we have an upcoming tournament next week, we are going to go look at some rules and scoring today, and so we can talk about some potential strategies we can use, as well as some potential things to look at at a competition. So, today's agenda. So first, we're going to talk about some scoring fundamentals. So how do we score points in this game, and what's the most efficient way to do so? Important specific game rules to look out for, so you don't get disqualified. And we can do some brief discussion about some scoring strategy. So let's get started. So let's talk about some scoring fundamentals. So everybody here has at least looked at the game manual, right? Hopefully? Yeah. Okay, great. So we're going to do this breakdown really quickly. So obviously we have the autonomous bonus. So if your alliance scores the most points in the autonomous period, which is the first 15 seconds where your robot operates autonomously, your team gets a bonus of 6 points. Each ring that you score on a stake, I should probably get a multiple here. But each ring that you score on a stake is 1 point. Each top ring on a stake is 3 points. And then obviously we have the climb. I know some teams here have some climbs, but essentially the level 1 tier, which is the black tier, that's 3 points. Level 2 is 6 points, which is that gray one. And then obviously 12 points for that golden other tier. And so something interesting is that when we look at, say, something like the autonomous bonus, they say they give your team 6 points, right? But the more important way of thinking about it is actually the point swing. So not only does your team get 6 points by winning autonomous bonus, but you prevent the opposing alliance from winning 6 points. Because if you don't win the autonomous bonus, then they get 6 points. So that means there's actually a 12-point swing between the two teams. And so that is just something really important to keep in mind when you're looking at the scores. So a really great example of that, let me get a couple more rings here so I can demonstrate this. So a really common way of thinking about this is the top ring bonus. So we all know the ring scoring criteria, right? So 3 rings, 1 ring, 2 ring, 3 ring. These 2 bottom rings count for 1 point each, so 2 points. And then you have the top ring bonus, so this one counts as 3. So in total, the red has 5 points scored on this mobile goal. But if we have one singular blue ring that scores onto the stake, not only are you getting that 3-point bonus for that top ring for the blue alliance, but you're actually taking away the top ring bonus for the red alliance. So not only is this one ring worth 3 points, but you actually have a 5-point swing. And especially because high stakes is such a low scoring game, a swing of 5 points, if you do that 1 or twice, that can actually impact the outcome of a match. So that is something to look out for. I also wanted to talk really quickly about the corner scoring and guarding. So everybody knows there's the negative corners and the positive corners, right? So the positive corners, when you put a goal in that positive corner, it doubles that points. And if there's negative corner, it makes the points, it makes the mobile goal in that negative corner worth nothing, but it also takes away points from the other rings that alliance has. Some interesting thing to note is that when you have, so there's 2 positive corners and 2 negative corners, right? When you put one of your mobile goals in one of the corners, it means that the other team cannot utilize that corner as well. So, for example, if you're able to control both of the corners, that means the opposing alliance not only not get the double bonus, but that means your team gets both of those. And so, if your alliance is able to control both of those positive corners, then essentially guarantees you a win. But because they're so contested, it's hard to get both of the corners. So that's something to look out for when basing your strategy around that. Additionally, negative corners are, I think, one of the most underlooked aspects of the game. If you can find, because there's 5 total mobile goals in a game, right? So there's always going to be at least 1 mobile goal that's free. If that mobile goal in the last couple of seconds has your opponent's rings on it, and you put that into the negative corner, you take away their advantage faster than you realize. Because not only do those points count for nothing, but they actually subtract additional points from that team. And that's a perfect segue into some of the important rules that I wanted to really talk about. We got DQ'd for some of these at our competition, so this is something to look at for sure when you're competing, so that you know what to argue against judges when they make unfair calls, or potentially when you see other teams violate those rules, so you can call them on that. So the first thing is that a mobile goal is considered placed in the corner. So that counts. So that's when you count the double multiplier or the negative multiplier on it. If it meets the following criteria: A, it has to contact the floor or a white tape line. B, some portion of the flexible top has to be above that field perimeter, and C, the mobile goal is breaking the plane of the corner. So what does that mean? So that means that, as you can see here, when you touch the floor, you do not have to touch the floor inside that plane. It can touch outside. As long as it is breaking the plane of the corner, aka there's some part of the goal that is extending over that white line, then it counts as scored. So basically the second part of the rule basically says that any mobile goal that is tilted on its side or not fully upright will not count towards the goal. So in that case, you can treat those as not scored if any of these criteria are not met. In that same vein, SG11 talks about how positive corners are protected in the endgame. So this does not apply to negative corners. So you can continue to interact with negative corners up until the end of the game. But it is incredibly important, whether if it's your goal or an opponent's goal or anything else in that sort of box in that corner, you should not touch that in the last 15 seconds. If you do, you risk getting DQ'd. We got DQ'd unfairly because of that, because there was some ambiguity with that. So it is best to, when you're driving in the last 15 seconds, not even in the last 15 seconds, in the last 20 seconds, to stay very clear away from that to make sure that you don't get unfairly called. You can also call this on other teams if you see some violation happening in this rule. Another really important rule, SG4. So you need to keep the scoring objects in the field. I don't think any robot that we have has the capability to eject a mobile goal from outside of the field, so that's good. But you should not do it anyway. If you do it intentionally or unintentionally, it is a violation, and they will call you on that. Additionally, if you get 3 or more rings outside of the field, whether intentionally or unintentionally, this is very common, especially when you have intakes that can fling rings very far. If you're on the side of the field and you intake and it accidentally goes out, even if it's intentional or it's not intentional, it will count. So you got to be really careful about that. As it says here, any team that removes 3 or more of their opponent's rings from the field in a single match will receive a major violation. A major violation means that you are disqualified from that match. You lose that match automatically. So you want to be super careful about not doing that and avoiding that during matches. So that is the general overview for all those things that I want you guys to pay attention for. I'm going to end the video really quick because I don't want the rest of the world to know about our strategy. But yeah, let's have a discussion about what you guys think is a good idea for strategy. Yeah.